The SmackDown general manager just dropped an F-bomb on live television. Backstage, security guards are scrambling to separate two grown men screaming in each other's faces, and the WWE champion just invaded someone's home and started throwing punches in their living room. This isn't some random mid-card beef that'll be forgotten next week. This is the complete and total breakdown of everything WWE stands for, and it all centers around one man who's pushed everyone past their breaking point. Drew McIntyre has finally done it. He's crossed every line, burned every bridge, and now even the man in charge has completely lost it. You need to see what happened because this is the kind of chaos that changes everything. Hit that like button right now because what I'm about to show you proves that WWE's so-called authority figures have absolutely no control anymore. And trust me, you'll want to share this with everyone who thinks they know where this story is going. They don't. Nobody does. And if you're not subscribed to WrestleCore yet, do yourself a favor and hit that button, because we're covering every single explosive moment of this insanity as it unfolds, and you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. Let me paint you the picture of how we got here. November 7th, SmackDown in Greenville, South Carolina. Cody Rhodes is in the main event against Aleister Black, and everything seems relatively normal. But then Drew McIntyre, fresh off another heartbreaking loss to Cody at Saturday night's main event, decides he's had enough of playing by the rules. The referee's counting, both Rhodes and Black are down, and out of absolutely nowhere, McIntyre storms the ring and obliterates referee Dan Angler with a Claymore kick so vicious the people genuinely thought the official might need intensive care. The building erupts. This isn't just interference, this is assault. This is a man who's completely snapped and everyone knows it. Cody tries to fight back, but Black blindsides him. Then Damian Priest runs down to help Rhodes, and suddenly we've got a full-scale brawl with bodies flying everywhere and Zelina Vega getting launched into the Timekeeper's area. It's absolute pandemonium. And standing at the top of the ramp, watching this train wreck unfold, is Nick Aldis, the man who's supposed to keep order on SmackDown. Aldis walks down to the ring and you can see it in his face. He's done. He's absolutely done with Drew McIntyre. He grabs a microphone and says 3 words that send shockwaves through the entire arena. Drew is suspended. Simple as that. No discussion, no negotiation. The Scottish Warrior is officially off SmackDown, and as the show goes off the air, you can see Drew and Aldis starting to argue right there on the entrance ramp. But here's where it gets insane. WWE released exclusive footage of what happened backstage after the cameras stopped rolling, and it is absolutely explosive. We're talking about a full-blown screaming match between a general manager and one of WWE's top superstars, with producers Bobby Roode and Kenny Dykstra desperately trying to keep these two men from coming to blows. Drew is pointing, shouting, completely out of control. And then it happens. Nick Aldis, the composed, professional general manager who's supposed to be the voice of reason, who's supposed to represent WWE management with dignity and class, completely loses it and screams at the top of his lungs, "Shut the fuck up." This is the same Nick Aldis who built his career on being the national treasure, the mat wrestling technician, the guy who represented class and tradition in professional wrestling. And now he's dropping F-bombs backstage because Drew McIntyre has pushed him so far past his limit that he can't even maintain his composure anymore. Roode is yelling, "Get out of here," over and over, but Drew just keeps going, muttering under his breath as he storms off, and you can feel the tension radiating through your screen. This isn't a work. This isn't some carefully scripted promo. This is real frustration, real anger, and it's the kind of moment that makes you wonder how much control WWE actually has over their own locker room. And Drew? He doesn't back down. He goes to social media and absolutely buries Aldis, responding to an old post where Nick announced he was joining SmackDown as general manager. Drew writes, "You don't put a saddle on a Mustang. You've become just another clown in a suit with absolutely no bollocks. You keep protecting QB1, I'll keep kicking down every hurdle in my path." He's calling Aldis a corporate sellout, accusing him of protecting Cody Rhodes at all costs, and making it crystal clear that this suspension isn't going to stop him from doing whatever he wants. Now here's where the story should have ended. Drew's suspended, he's off TV, maybe he comes back in a few weeks, they do an apology segment, and we move on. But that's not what happened. Paul Heyman selected Drew for his War Games team at Survivor Series, so despite being suspended from SmackDown, McIntyre's still showing up and competing. Aldis tries to reach out to reinstate him properly, calling, texting, emailing, trying to do this the right way. Drew ignores everything. He won't return any communication. He's making it impossible for Aldis to do his job. So Aldis makes a decision.
He's going to Drew's house. He's going to sit down with McIntyre face-to-face at his home in Nashville, Tennessee, and they're going to figure this out like adults. And here's where you have to ask yourself, what was Nick Aldis thinking? Because what happened next is the kind of disaster that could get everyone involved fired in any other workplace. WWE released the footage. Cameras rolling, Aldis arrives at Drew's house and immediately explains why he brought the crew. I brought you guys with me here today to document everything, because unfortunately it's come to this. I have to make sure I catch everything on camera because there's no way of knowing what Drew will misrepresent if I don't. Right from the start, there's zero trust. Aldis knows Drew's going to twist whatever happens, so he's protecting himself by recording everything. They sit down. Aldis offers Drew the deal. You want to come back? Here's what we need. Apologize to referee Dan Angler for that vicious attack, pay a hefty fine, which your War Games payday should cover, and you get your WWE Championship match against Cody Rhodes. One-on-one, title on the line. Drew immediately rejects it. He says this is what Cody wants, this is what Aldis wants, and he's not accepting terms that are just going to screw him over again.
And then Drew makes his own demands, and they're absolutely wild. He wants to pick the stipulation for his championship match, and more importantly, he wants legal documents stating that if Cody Rhodes lays one finger on him before that match happens, Cody is stripped of the WWE Championship. Think about that. Drew McIntyre is demanding that WWE's lawyers draft up actual legal paperwork protecting him from the champion. He doesn't trust anybody. Not Cody, not Aldis, not the entire WWE system. And incredibly, Aldis agrees. He hates it. You can see the disgust on his face, but he agrees to fly back to Stamford, get the lawyers together, and have those documents ready by the end of the day. That should have been it. Meeting over, problem solved. Everyone goes home. But then Drew gets a notification on his phone. Someone's outside his property. And it's Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare has tracked down where this meeting is happening, shown up at Drew McIntyre's actual house, and he is absolutely furious. The footage shows Cody confronting them in the hallway, tensions exploding instantly, and then punches start flying. They're brawling in Drew's home, smashing through the living room, security trying to pull them apart, and it's complete chaos. The last thing you hear before the footage cuts out is Cody screaming, "Merry Christmas, asshole," as police and security finally manage to separate them. Let that sink in for a second. The WWE champion just invaded another wrestler's home and started a fight. Nick Aldis brought cameras to what was supposed to be a private negotiation, essentially setting up Drew to be ambushed in his own house. And Drew McIntyre has now got ammunition to claim that WWE has created an unsafe work environment, that management can't be trusted, and that he was literally attacked in his own home during what was supposed to be a professional meeting with the general manager. This is where Drew might have gone too far, but it's also where Aldis has completely lost control of the situation. How do you come back from this? How does Nick Aldis maintain any authority when he's dropping F-bombs backstage, agreeing to insane legal demands, and allowing the WWE champion to track down a suspended wrestler and fight him in his living room? This isn't management. This is complete and total chaos, and Drew McIntyre is the one steering the ship while Aldis is desperately trying to hold everything together. The really scary part? Drew now has everything he wanted. He's got his championship match against Cody. He gets to pick the stipulation, and he's got legal protection saying Cody can't touch him before the match or he loses the title. But that home invasion might have already violated those terms. So now what? Is Cody stripped of the championship? Does the match happen anyway? Who's making these decisions when the general manager has proven he can't control anything? And here's the question that should terrify everyone in WWE. If Nick Aldis can snap and lose his composure this badly, if Drew McIntyre can manipulate the system this effectively and get exactly what he wants through pure chaos and intimidation, what does that say about WWE's entire power structure? What happens when every wrestler realizes that authority figures can be pushed, that rules can be bent, and that if you scream loud enough and cause enough problems, you'll eventually get your way? Drew McIntyre has exposed something fundamental about WWE. The inmates are running the asylum. The talent has more power than management, and when things get uncomfortable, when a wrestler refuses to play ball,
WWE will bend over backwards to give them whatever they want just to avoid more chaos. And Drew knows this. He's weaponized it.
He's turned his own frustration, his own repeated failures to capture the WWE Championship into a storyline where he controls everything. Nick Aldis finally snapped, but he snapped too late. He should have drawn the line months ago. He should have stood firm after that first suspension. Instead, he tried to be reasonable, tried to negotiate, tried to handle Drew like a professional, and Drew McIntyre absolutely destroyed him for it. Now Aldis looks weak, WWE's authority structure looks like a joke, and Drew is sitting pretty with a championship match on his terms. This isn't over, not by a long shot, because Drew McIntyre has proven that he'll do absolutely anything to get what he wants, rules be damned. And Cody Rhodes has proven he's willing to invade someone's home to send a message. And Nick Aldis? He's proven that when pushed far enough, even the most professional person will completely lose control. That's what makes the story so compelling and so dangerous. Nobody knows where the line is anymore because Drew McIntyre keeps erasing it, and everyone else is just trying to survive the fallout. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Nick Aldis crossed the line by bringing cameras to Drew's house and essentially setting him up for that attack? Or did Drew deserve everything that happened after months of chaos and destruction? And most importantly, what stipulation do you think Drew's going to choose for his match against Cody? Because whatever it is, you know it's going to be absolute carnage. Make sure you're subscribed to Wrestle Core so you don't miss a single second of this ongoing war, because I promise you, the explosion that's coming is going to be bigger than anything we've seen so far. This is just the beginning.